Hi there, it's Tom and Tom back with you again. And today, Tom has an exciting topic for us. Tell us about it, Tom.
Hey, great to see everyone. I'm actually wearing a T-shirt from the Agile and Beyond conference
What
in
year?
Detroit a few years ago. I've lost track of it. 2022 was this. I love speaking at this conference because they had the best T-shirts. It always had this great local theme, and they were sourced and high quality. And of course, it was a Detroit audience, and so it was fun to talk about Agile and other topics. But it was it was called Agile and Beyond. And this year they've changed the name to Beyond.
Beyond Conference.
the Because of the impact that AI is having on that traditional industry. And I've had the opportunity to speak multiple times on agility and AI, and I'm like, everything we've ever talked about in general about agility, the way you and I talk about it, is more true, not less, in the
Yeah.
age of AI. And and uh, and but I've been watching some reports on how certain companies, and I didn't think it included Google and SpaceX and Meta, were encouraging their engineers to adopt AI or to experiment with AI. And I have worked a program, and I think you and I might have worked a program together, but I've worked programs together entirely about getting people to run experiments well. Uh, and I love them and they're great. But let me tell you the metric that these three companies all were initially using. How many tokens are you using? We're going to put your token count up on the board. In one case, another company, we're even going to give away a little prize if whoever spent the most tokens today. And
Ah,
that was the metrics. These big, theoretically wise, you and I have talked about SpaceX and
it's the,
and 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 whatever you think of Meta. They figured out how to make an awful lot of money on the web with their advertising engines. These are not dumb companies,
well, that's
but
debatable after that.
but I'm going to toss out to you, knowing that this is not a trick question. What do you think of that metric? And of course, the articles I was reading was they were abandoning that metric.
It's a classic
Oh,
vanity metric. That's like
yeah.
like how many lines of code did you write? It it really is almost exactly the same thing as how many
It
lines of
is.
code did you write. As if somehow that would equate to output.
Most organizations you and I have worked in that have scaled, they reward upper level managers by how much budget they manage and how many people they directly report up to them or indirectly report up to through their tree. These are equally bad metrics, by the way, for
Mm-hmm.
how to pay and reimburse your management team. And they're everywhere. So the idea that a big company can make this mistake on AI tokens isn't a surprise because we see them make almost every big company I've ever worked in has those very poor metrics
Mm-hmm.
and how they reward entirely up the stream. They reward for how much budget you're managing, and you'll hear them talk about it. Isn't it great? I'm managing $20 million, or I'm managing 800 people. 800 people report up through me. Therefore, I deserve more salary. Uh, because and in this case, I'm spending the most tokens.
Right. Well,
Therefore, I'm doing the best research on AI.
you and I had a similar conversation when we were talking about
Yeah.
bureaucracy.
Yes.
And in larger organizations, for lack of a means of evaluating people based on outcomes, they use these kind of internal meaningless metrics that don't tell you anything about the effectiveness of the organization. In fact, they almost tell you the reverse in a way
They,
of effectiveness. Like what you're rewarded for is reverse effectiveness. Like,
The
here's this little guy over here with 10 people spanking out massive outcomes, and nobody even notices the guy. And then over here, there's this woman with, 600 people and a huge budget doing almost nothing, but doing it in a very big way.
in a big way. Look at all the people who work for me and look at all of the money I spend. Therefore, I must be important. The same as look at how many tokens I spent. Therefore, I must be doing good research. And the solution is simple. I say simple conceptually because there's a lot of reasons you and I have experienced. We can go into why it's actually difficult to fix these problems in a large bureaucracy. But the solution is simple. When I run a program inside of a larger organization to teach different skills, we start with outcomes. We might even just start with pain. If we have a class of 20 people and we're trying to teach these new ways of thinking about improving the workplace and improving their jobs, we might just say, what's something that really annoys you every day? What's something that makes you not want to come into work on Monday? Right? Maybe you've been thinking about something. What is an experiment you'd love to run or something you'd like to improve? What's work you do that feels like busy work? We look for them to identify something that is annoying to them or bothersome to them or something or an opportunity they're excited about. And then we ask them to reframe all of them. And they don't have to do it right away. You might do some research first, but you investigate the pain point, you investigate the annoyance, and then you run experiments, or maybe you do surveys, you gather data, you run experiments to try to understand what's happening. And then, and this is the key part, then you approach how you want to do your more important experiments as the outcomes you want to achieve. And now, based upon the outcome you want to achieve, if I choose to use the tool of AI, it's not about using AI, it's about exploring the fact that maybe AI could have made this outcome dramatically, or maybe will make this outcome dramatically easier to achieve. And now you run the experiment with the AI on the outcome you're trying to achieve. And when I used to do this program more aggressively, and one of the people who trained me in this program used to do it extremely aggressively 25 years ago, these things took a year. What's interesting about it, in my opinion, in terms of running them in the age of AI, is things that maybe took a year, I might be able to work with the team to do in a month or two. The only reason it takes that long, because you might be going, I think you could do some of these in a day, and I agree. But the only reason it takes that long is to get them into the mindset of experiment and investigation as opposed to just spending.
Yeah.
It's to get them over the fear of and thinking differently.
You kind of took this in a slightly different direction than I thought you were going to go, because the Agile or the Beyond Conf, as I think they're calling it now, is being focused on AI, and they're looking for AI stories. And you may recall, I ran an experiment with my first experiment with developing software with AI. I approached it as a guy with an idea.
Exactly.
I don't know anything about software development. I have an idea. I want the AI to build me some software. And it quickly failed. Now, someday, maybe it won't. There may be tool sets that you can buy to use with AI that compensate now that are out there. So it's not like it can't be done. But with just using raw AI, and I tried it with Google AI Studio and Claude, and very quickly I hit a brick wall. Like I could not get it to do good software development without utilizing the skills I have as a software development professional.
Right. Now, once you started to do that, you got a different outcome.
Right. And in fact, I have a neighbor who owns a small construction company. And he was frustrated by the fact that he has all these different processes that aren't integrated. He has different tools. And so he decided to use Codex to build an integrated app that does the accounting and the project management and the scheduling and the takeoffs for estimating and whatnot. And he had all, he knows how to do it all. So in his head, he's thinking, I just need to tell this AI what I want. And he built a pretty comprehensive app. It just doesn't it really doesn't work. That, he didn't know how to, these things will work on a small scale. If you want to build an app to catalog your record collection, AI will do that for you all day long, and it'll do it perfectly. But if you want to build a complex multi-module application like that, you need to know how to build software. But I gave him a tip, which it's another experiment that I'm curious about. I said, why don't you ask your AI to assemble a world-class software development team with all of the roles necessary to ensure a highly effective team to build this application, and see what it comes back with. Because maybe if that's all you know, is that
That might be enough.
It might actually work. It's another experiment. He wrote it down. I told him the prompt to give it to call into existence the team that he doesn't have when he's just telling an AI what to do. And I said, now tell it to go back with the whole team and audit the app and fix all the aspects of it: usability, reliability, scalability, and security, and to just have it audit all of those things separately before you move on to adding any more functionality to the app, and see what it does. So those two things, having a good team and telling it how to audit the app that he's already built to see what it comes back with, it may be enough. I don't know.
So I ran the different experiment, which is, I never ran the experiment of trusting it out of the box, because I don't trust any team out of the box. So why would I trust AI out of the box? So I spent a lot of time implementing everything I knew from building Menlo Innovations and Agile to defining a process, putting it inside of Claude MD, creating agents, prompting them into existence, prompting a process into existence for how I wanted it to work. And then, because in a sense, what you and I have taught in our past in Agile is continuous inspection and continuous improvement.
Right.
I also built a system for me as the developer where not only did I do that sort of audit prompt once, I did it 3 times a day. About half of the time, half of the tokens my AI was using was looking to inspect and improve the code and the I created an architecture agent. I created different files for the equivalent of some sort of vault on various artifacts that we were creating, and we've prompted into production a dozen sort of production apps that we're quite happy with how they behave in real time.
Yeah.
And every time a new AI level comes out, such as Fable 5, the first thing we do to it is, hey, Fable 5, run the audits now as Fable 5. And we separate the audits from fixing. Like the audit just produces a report.
Interesting.
We use a separate AI to do the fixing.
That's very interesting. Well, I will tell you, you did something that stuck in my head when I was talking to my friend, because he was showing me actually some of the dialogue that he'd had, and at one point it was working on 2 different things at the same time. And he told the AI, oh, don't do that, just work on this other thing first. And the AI said, "Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah, I should stay focused." And I said to him, "Now, because you don't know what you're doing, the AI might have actually had a good reason to work on both those things simultaneously. But as soon as you told it not to, it, it defaulted to its sycophantic behavior." And I told
Sycophant.
him about your senior software developer who was a cantankerous,
Cantankerous curmudgeon.
curmudgeonous
He loves clean
contrarian.
code. He loves clean code the way most people love their dogs.
Right.
Isn't he?
And so I told them about what you had done there and how creating that persona, having an agent, if you will, that is going to argue with you all the time and tell you you're wrong, basically,
Yeah.
it's a great addition because it avoids that problem of having the AI always validate whatever you say, whether it's good or not.
The way the AI currently runs now and how it maintains session variables and session context, that runs better in a clean session than in an old session too. It's like the AI, even though it's asked to put on the Broom persona, if I'm in the session that wrote the code, it is not the best session to evaluate the code. It's better to open a fresh, clean one. These are all
Interesting.
things I learned along the way.
Yeah, I don't have the $200 a month subscription, Tom, so I was a little hesitant to throw Fable at it because I don't know what that will cost me, but I have till Sunday to figure it out.
I think it already stopped giving you the free
No,
Fable.
they extended
Unless
it
you have a, did they? Oh, good for
till
them.
Sunday.
I use Fable, by the way. We're way off topic, but I use Fable just to do a deeper conversation, and I was impressed at how deep the conversation got
Yeah.
with the AI. So whatever you tried, and maybe we'll finish with this. Anyone who bothered to listen this long, whenever you try, if you haven't tried the experiment recently and you're dealing with AI, it's worth trying again.
Yeah.
As the target is moving so fast. So you not only want to run experiments with AI, you want to keep track of your experiment, your experimental parameters, and you want to continually rerun them because we're not used to technology improving exponentially every 3 to 4 months. And that's the curve we're currently on.
Yeah.
So it's a fun time to be alive, but it's sort of frightening because you realize whatever you thought you knew about what the tech could and couldn't do maybe has changed in the last 2 weeks.
I was going to say 3 to 4 months is way too long of a time
I put that horizon out,
now.
but it's really 2 weeks. I don't want to totally frighten people.
It's probably only a week. I think they're actually sandbagging now just because they don't want people to get too overwhelmed with new updates. But
yeah,
I
got exceptional quality out of my AI, and we continue to as we apply it to marketing, as we apply it to operations, because we apply all of the knowledge you and I have gained over 35, 40 years in business, 25 years with Agile. It's like all of these things still apply. Certain things don't apply, but the fundamental principles apply.
Right.
And when you understand the fundamental principles of Agile, not the tactics of Scrum, the fundamental principles of Scrum, the fundamental principles of extreme programming, you can apply them everywhere and anywhere, and you can leverage AI, and it's delightful. And so if you come to the Beyond conference, I'll talk about it live in September.
Right. And one final thought there, and that is that like in Agile, where we encourage collaboration in doing work, it's important that you collaborate with your AI instead of just ordering it to do stuff. Because if you think about if you have a teammate and you just keep telling them, do this, now do this, now do this, guess how quickly they'll tune out and not want to be around you anymore. Even though the AI is more patient and willing to stay with you and do whatever you say, it's not optimal.
You're missing 90% of the value. And some of the collaboration habits that I've created and use also involves opening 2 or 3 different AIs, even when I'm working on the same problem, and cross-collaborating across models. Maybe I'll save it for future call, but I have a marketing story.
You got to save
a whole
that
series of best selling marketing books, have a marketing story that's just unbelievable with our new product.
Well,
So
stay
it's like
tuned.
the world is crazy, folks. Don't get caught up in stupid metrics. Measure outcomes.
Indeed.
Run experiments,
Please.
measure outcomes, see if you can make things better
That's
with
right.
a metric that isn't a game. And there's no more interesting time to be alive than right now. That's for sure.
Probably not. Well, I hope you liked this video. At least I hope you learned something. If you did, give us a like, drop us a comment. And most importantly, please remember to click that subscribe button. We really appreciate it if you would do that. And if you are embarking on AI software development and you would like somebody who's been there and done that and knows the pro tips, some of which we've shared with you today, reach out to us at beintentional.biz. We would love to help you spin up an AI software development team. We know how to get that
We
done.
would. And most importantly, it won't really be about the AI.
And with that, this is Tom.
And Tom,
Thanks for listening.
bye.